Welcome to Next Step Advanced Sketching Techniques. Today, students, we're going to learn how to sketch a photorealistic, well, in a way, a photorealistic scene, but it's sci-fi, a photorealistic scene of extraterrestrial or alien encounter with a human astronaut on another planet. So let's get started. Other than it being make-believe, it should be pretty believable to everybody as far as the photorealism. So the first thing we're going to do is sketch an astronaut, a human astronaut. And human astronauts are going to have visors to see out of. Of course, we can still see the face, but the visor is going to protect the human from the low oxygen content. We could say that this planet that we're on, Smarty, the planet Smarty, is basically has a low oxygen content. The oxygen content on Earth is about 90%. So 90% of the atmosphere in the Earth, on top of the Earth and in the atmosphere, it's 90% oxygen. We'll say here it's only about 20%. So the rest is maybe nitrogen. So the human being, the astronaut, would not be able to breathe without his helmet. And he's gonna need to have a bulky suit. And right here at the bend, we're gonna have, see, whenever you have like joints or movement, they're gonna have to have softer. So right here at the shoulder, to get realistic, you know, if we're going to honor physics, and we certainly want to honor physics when we're doing our advanced next step sketching techniques. All right, we're going to do, the thumb is going to be on the outside here on both hands. I want to make sure you get your positioning right. And even astronauts are going to need belts to hold, especially with these really bulky astronaut suits, astronaut pants. And again, we're going to have the little joint here because the knees are a joint. The knees, a lot of people don't think about that, but the knees actually rotate about an axis. And then some big planet boots. Say this astronaut's going to have a mustache, and maybe his hair is longer than the helmet, which is fine. So his hair is going to be coming out the back of the spacesuit, and the hair doesn't need oxygen. The hair is not a living being. It's not a living thing, so that's fine. That's okay. But just to contrast the this astronaut's long hair, maybe a hippie astronaut, right? Now he's looking over this way. If you can see his eyes, they're peeking over this way. But before we draw our extraterrestrial, our xenophobe, let's draw some contours in the ground here. So maybe a crater here, maybe a crater here. Maybe a space rock. And you know, this particular planet might be really close to other planets. So what we're going to do is we're going to draw a planet with an atmospheric ring, much like Pluto and all of the planets that you know and love. And so maybe this planet has 3 rings going around it. All right, that looks really good to me. And of course, we're not going to do our familiar sun in this case. We're going to say the sun's maybe off in the distance. So this, and maybe Earth is right here. All right, so we do a little more contours. Maybe this planet has enough oxygen, even at 20%, to support maybe a space flower. Now this is where our imagination is going to have to, maybe this space flower grows in rocks, and who's to say that it doesn't? Correct? correct, because we're using our imagination and we're not sure. And this this space flower is just different than anything we've ever seen. All right, now let's draw our alien. Now, when I picture an alien, I picture a really, really large head. And maybe it's got an ear, just one ear up on top. And maybe it's just got one unibrow. Right there. And of course the ear is going to be dark because the light's not going to go in to the ear hole, correct? Correct. And then maybe this alien has not seen our friend yet. He's looking up at our sun, or she's looking up at our sun, wondering what beautiful planet is that. That's really beautiful. So for an alien nose, what we're going to do is basically 3 nostrils, and maybe they have a big wide mouth, maybe to eat the space rocks and these space flowers. And then next we're going to get to the body, but well, real quick, I just want to do some shading in here, just to do some contours like that. And maybe this particular type of alien, maybe we'll call him Krusty, a crustacean. We'll call him a crustacean. Maybe he has a kind of a ball oval shape, and instead of legs, he's going to have 2 spikes that come out here, and then instead of arms, he's just going to have hairs. But you know, the same as the hairs that you and I have, they're just thicker, okay? And with these hairs on the end of his hair follicle, maybe he's got really soft hair hooks. So the same material as the hair, so it's just thicker, and there are hooks on the end. So maybe hairs are what appendages are made of on aliens. And so since his hair looks like it's kind of a dark color, we'll go ahead and color his hair arm the same color. And maybe this alien has a belly button, maybe in this region. Who's to say? And maybe the aliens on this planet for clothes wear what we call a cape, but maybe they call a shirt. All right, so far we've got our astronaut from Earth, and we have our space alien named Crustacean. We have an alien flower. We've got some space rocks here. Now maybe our astronaut here is a little alarmed. He's feeling uncomfortable with this alien. This alien's looking a little mischievous, or this alien's looking a little dangerous. So we can't draw sound. That's one of the very important things I want my students to know. But we can do what are called alarm lines. And so he's alarmed, and maybe he just radioed, so we can do some radio wave lines. Maybe he just radioed and he's asked for his fellow astronauts who are nearby to come by. And this is another, we're going to draw the spaceship. And this is another area where we can let our imaginations run wild. So maybe this astronaut, his friend, is blasting away, is blasting towards the planet. He's alarmed. He's coming to save his friend. And maybe there's the planet flag here. And maybe our crustacean friend here lives in a little village, but maybe their houses are shaped a little bit different than ours. So maybe this is their house, and then another house. And maybe they have roads too, and we really want to honor perspective. So we're going to widen the road as we come. And this road happens to lead right to our astronaut, so kind of bad luck for him, because if we look in the distance, we can see crustaceans. It looks like his maybe the governor has gotten wind of this human landing, and he is going to come put the human in jail for trespassing. So we'll go ahead and draw him, and maybe one spike is back because he's running, and then he's going to have a belly button, and of course his hair arm or arm hair, which has this soft claw at the end, is kind of in motion. Now you can't draw motion, that's impossible. This isn't video, this is drawing. But what we can do is do motion lines. They're very similar to alarm lines. So he's sweeping down, and he's gonna, and then of course there's no reason to think that an alien road would not have these hazard rectangle, the yellow things in the road. So we're going to go ahead and draw them. Maybe they're a little bit different color, but we would assume that they would be there too. And let's keep going with our imagination. Well, why are they so alarmed? Is it just that he's trespassing, or is it that he's accidentally about to step on one of these little kid crustaceans? So we could draw one here. Maybe it has a passy in its mouth. And remember, we're going with 3 nostrils. And the passy, I'm just going to, maybe it's strapped this way. And I just noticed that I didn't give myself enough room. This is actually embarrassing for me when I have to erase. I tell my students an eraser is your worst enemy, or your best enemy. You don't want to use an eraser if you don't have to. Of course, even the baby's going to have the ear on top because it's the same species. And maybe the unibrow is not so thick because this is still a baby. And maybe a baby's going to have more of like a baby eye. And then a baby's going to still have maybe a hair here and a hair here. Of course, it's still got a belly button, but it's smaller. And its little spike legs are also going to be smaller, and then its little hair appendages are going to be smaller. So everything's going to be smaller because the baby's smaller. But then maybe this baby's got on a space diaper with little. Maybe the baby likes little space flowers on there. And the baby's going to have alarm lines because the astronaut has a limited perspective or limited viewing angle. Maybe he's only got 60 degrees he can see. So he's like, well, why are these guys coming to me? I'm alarmed. Well, he can't see that. See, he's moving this way, and this baby alien is crying. So we can't draw sound as one of the main teaching points, I like to say, but we can write cry. But since this is an alien baby, let's make up our own language. So maybe it's but that means that the baby is crying. And then we're going to just give another little horizon here. And what else can we do? Maybe the satellites on this planet float down closer than we're used to. Maybe the gravity's stronger. So maybe we'll draw a satellite. Satellite's going to have a circle middle and then 2 wings with hatching. And make sure with your hatching that you do equal lines this direction, equal lines that direction. and it's going to have a little light flashing. We can't draw flashing, can we? That's a form of movement, so, but we can draw flashing lines. They're similar to alarm lines, as well as movement lines. All right, it looks like we're about done here, so you have 5 seconds to grab your outline markers. And as I always say, we're not going to outline everything in the drawing, just the certain parts of the drawing, and that's because in real life, in nature, not everything is going to be treated equally or affected equally by light. Correct? Correct. All right, so I kind of feel bad for our astronaut friend here, because, you know, I don't think he's aware that he's getting ready to step on the baby alien. He's kind of limited. He's handicapped by his suit. So I would say the designer of the suit, boy, if I was the designer, I would be feeling really bad, because such a small misstep for this man, which is not very kind, could have grave ramifications for all of mankind, just based on based on like the way you're designing a spacesuit. So I would say shame on him. We're just going to do the bottom part of just outline some of the features here that are important. All right, and then we'll go ahead and do our alarm lines, and of course the radio signal. And now let's sketch our alien. We'll start with now these appendages, as we talked about, they don't have bone on the inside, and they don't have cartilage, anything like that. This is just the same kind of hair that you and I have, just bigger, and then little clamps on the end there. So they have just hair for their arms, and then remember, for their legs, we used our imagination and said that they have capes. I just realized our baby doesn't have what we call a cape. Now, our aliens, we've decided, have ears on top of their head. They have one thick brow to insulate their eyeball and their cornea. And then they have a nose with 3 nostrils, perhaps to smell space smells. And this alien seems a little agitated, and I think it's because he or she is aware. We're not sure if the gender of our alien. He's aware that one of his kind is getting ready to get stepped on by a big old heavy space boot, by an American or a human or British or whichever European space agency. This space boot right here is getting ready to drop on that baby. So, and then we we'll go in sequence here, and then we've got the spaceship here that got the radio signal. Okay, radio signals travel at the speed of sound, so it'll get there pretty darn quickly. And here's his friend in the human or Earth space capsule, and he's trying to race here to save his friend, to rescue his friend, and he's coming in at a high speed. Now we're going to outline our. Now, of course, since this is not Earth, we're going to assume that there's going to be different planets and outer space bodies. So this is what our imaginations came up with. And then we have a satellite here, an alien satellite. Maybe the alien satellite is at alarm, and maybe it's traveling this way. We can't draw movement, but we can certainly draw arrows. All right, and then we have a space flower growing in the rocks. And we have some of our aliens' houses, which have these spiky tops, maybe to protect it from unseen, unknown to us forces. Now this is the alien's friend, maybe the governor or the mayor, and he or she is aware of the danger that this clueless, disengaged human, the risk that he poses to this poor little alien baby. The baby was maybe just playing with its space rocks, and then all of a sudden, now this is a pacifier, because we're going to assume that, well, any baby needs to be pacified. Any baby might like a pacifier. And it might get frustrated because it has these hairs for arms, and probably can't pick up well, even I guess the grown-up aliens probably can't pick up a lot of heavy things if you have hairs for arms, but maybe that's enough because the gravity is so weak on this planet, and maybe without all that oxygen, that perhaps there's a scientific reason. And then we're going to have these hazard rectangles like we see on Earth, and all roads today, or this road, leads to these aliens coming to take care of business. They're very worried about, oh, and this is our aliens. We can't expect them to speak with our in language populated by our 26 letters. So that's why we did this here. All right, so now we're just going to color. Today I've selected the color yellow. It's one of my favorite colors. We don't need to color everything in a drawing. Let's be selective. We know the sun is yellow, and we also know our rocket ship's exhaust is yellow from the fire exiting, pushing it along, and then we have this flashing light right here. And I'm going to go out on a limb and say that our aliens are yellow. Our alien friends, maybe not friends for long, because this guy is getting ready to step on this baby alien. And it looks like our aliens don't wear shirts, which is fine. And then just because they have spikes doesn't mean they're not going to be yellow. Of course, they wear a cape. And then here's our other alien. Now he's not a baby. He's just back off in the distance. This is what's called perspective and 3D scaling. Who's to say flowers on another planet don't have some yellow? Certainly they can. And now let's color our alien baby. Now this is what's going to separate amateurs from professionals. Don't color the pacifier yellow, because the pacifier, or the diaper, because they're not part of his body, are they? No, they're not. Remember, the hairs are just going to be like human hair, or the baby's brow hair. All right, and it's probably expected that some parts of our astronaut are going to have some yellow in them, and maybe some of this planet here. So it looks like we're done. We painted a master drawing today of an outer space. I say photorealistic, but this is not based on reality in the sense that we used our imagination to create a landscape, an alien landscape, and what they might look like. So I hope you had fun today. I certainly know I did. I really enjoy tapping into my imagination sometimes, and so we just had a little space scene today that we did with inadvertently one of our astronauts inadvertently getting ready to step on this alien, and this alien's upset, and this alien is coming to, maybe he or she's the mayor, and this is one of our astronauts coming to help his friend. All right, well, if you were unable to attain the elegance, the sophistication, the aesthetic high-tier quality that you see here today, please do not fret. I have been doing this for so long, so it really does come easy to me. So don't give up and keep trying. And as always, I hope you enjoy the rest of your day. Thank you and take care.